Imagine walking into your favorite cafe and locking eyes with someone sitting in your usual spot. They look familiar. Same laugh lines, same nervous tap of the foot, but their hair is peppered with gray, and there's a calm confidence in their gaze. It's you. 10, 20, maybe 40 years older. What would you do if you met your future self? What would you ask? Humans have always been fascinated by time travel. We tell stories about children wishing to be grown-ups and waking up as adults, like in the film Big, or misers dragged through time by the ghost of Christmas yet to come in A Christmas Carol. In recent romantic comedies like My Old Ass and in countless science fiction tales, characters converse with older versions of themselves. There's a hunger to know how things turn out, whether our sacrifices pay off or our mistakes can be avoided. But beyond the movie magic lies an intriguing question. What does science say about meeting your future self? In this video, we'll explore how psychologists study our connection to future selves, how cutting-edge AI lets people talk with a simulated future, and what time travel theories say about paradoxes. We'll also ponder the emotional impact such a meeting might have and discuss ways to forge a healthier relationship with the person you'll eventually become. Why we dream about our future selves. Humans possess a unique ability called mental time travel. We can project ourselves into the future or the past and imagine different scenarios. Psychologist Hal Hershfield notes that people can vividly imagine future events, yet we often fail to use this power to its fullest benefit. We celebrate milestone birthdays or New Year's by taking stock of our lives because those dates force us to reflect on who we are and who we might become. However, as Hershfield explains, our ability to picture our future selves weakens the further we project in time. It's hard to imagine yourself in 10 or 30 years because that person feels like a stranger, not you. This psychological distance has consequences. When our future selves feel alien, we're less motivated to invest in them. Hershfield compares it to helping a friend. You're more willing to sacrifice for someone you feel close to than for someone you barely know. Likewise, if you feel a sense of overlap with your future self, you're more likely to do things that benefit them, like saving money, exercising, or making healthy choices. Laboratory and survey studies show that individuals who feel connected to their future selves save more, report higher life satisfaction, and enjoy better health. Conversely, viewing the future self as a distant stranger leads to short-sighted choices and less preparation for later life. Tools and research. Meeting your future self without a time machine. The desire to connect with our future selves isn't new. As early as the 1960s, researchers asked participants to write letters to their future selves as a way to boost future self continuity. Later, virtual reality experiments allowed people to see age-progressed versions of themselves in a mirror. While these methods made the future more vivid, they weren't interactive. The MIT Future You Project. In 2024, researchers from MIT and Capricorn Labs unveiled Future You, a system that lets people have a text-based conversation with an AI-generated version of themselves at age 60. Participants answer questions about their lives, goals, and values. The system uses this information to build future self memories and to generate a realistic persona that can chat about career highlights or overcoming challenges. The conversation is enriched with an age-progressed photo and the AI peppered with phrases like, "when I was your age," to make the interaction feel authentic. A study involving 344 participants found that after spending 10 to 30 minutes talking with their simulated future selves, people reported lower anxiety and a stronger sense of connection to their future selves. The vivid, interactive nature of Future You provided an anchor that transformed anxious rumination into concrete reflections. Researchers caution, however, that such a simulation is not a prophecy. It represents one possible future, and giving different answers to the initial questionnaire yields different outcomes. As one of the creators puts it, this is not a prophecy, but rather a possibility. The success of Future You highlights the power of vivid imagery. Hershfield notes that to get people to care more about their future selves, We should make those selves vivid and emotional. Age-progressed selfies or AI simulations can evoke empathy and nudge us toward better decisions. In a real-world experiment with 50,000 bank customers in Mexico, people who saw age-progressed images of themselves were 16% more likely to contribute to their pensions. It's not a magic bullet, but it shows how bringing the future self into focus can change behavior. Letter to your future self. If you don't have access to AI platforms, you can still create a meaningful interaction. Writing a letter to your future self, whether in a journal, through a website that emails it back to you, or sealed in an envelope, forces you to articulate your hopes, fears, and values. When you read that letter years later, you'll see how far you've come and whether you honored your intentions. Such exercises harness mental time travel and can cultivate empathy for the person you will be. Time travel theories. Is meeting your future self possible? Hollywood is full of scenes where someone from the future appears to give advice. But from a physics perspective, what would happen? BBC Science Focus explained that if the universe operates as a single, unbroken chain of cause and effect, then traveling forward and meeting your older self doesn't break anything. You must eventually return to your time of origin so that the older version of you can exist to meet you later. The encounter is self-consistent. The future you remember meeting the younger you because it already happened. However, time travel to the past introduces paradoxes such as the classic grandfather paradox. If you were to meet a younger version of yourself and change their decisions, would you erase your reason for traveling back? Some theories suggest that every act of causation creates a parallel universe, an endlessly branching tree of possible timelines. In such multiverse scenarios, meeting a future self in another branch could be possible because each timeline coexists, and actions in one branch don't affect the others. Yet time travel is purely theoretical. Proposed mechanisms require exotic matter or negative energy. For now, the only time travel we experience is the mundane passage of 1 second per second. So when we imagine meeting our future selves, we're really contemplating a thought experiment or using technology like AI to simulate it. Emotional impact. Facing your future self, let's return to our cafe meeting. If you could sit with an older version of yourself, what would you ask? Would you want to know if you achieved your dreams? How you handled heartbreak? Whether you changed careers or moved cities? Participants in MIT's Future You Project often felt less anxious after their conversations. Hearing an older version of yourself talk about overcoming challenges can transform nebulous worries into concrete narratives. It encourages introspection and retrospection. Participants think deeply about their current values as they build their future personas, then reflect on whether the simulation aligns with who they aspire to be. However, the researchers warn that such realism can also backfire if the simulation portrays a negative future. To mitigate this, Future You emphasizes that you maintain agency and that every conversation represents just one possible path. Hirschfield's research further shows that increasing future self-continuity doesn't mean sacrificing everything for the future. It's about building a relationship between your present and future selves. In his own life, he says the goal is for his future self to look back and say, "You were there during important moments." Striking a balance between living fully today and preparing for tomorrow means treating your future self like a friend whose well-being matters. How to build a healthier relationship with your future self. Even without AI time machines, you can strengthen your bond with future you. Here are some practical strategies. Visualize vividly. Use age progression apps or even sketch what you might look like in 20 years. The more tangible your future self feels, the easier it is to empathize. Write letters. Compose a letter to your future self, or, conversely, write a letter from your future self to you. Describe your values, goals, and what matters most. Revisit your letters periodically. 3. Set future milestones. Break large goals into smaller, immediate actions. Research shows that reframing contributions from monthly amounts to daily amounts e.g., saving $5 a day instead of $150 a month, increases participation. Make the future feel less overwhelming by focusing on the next step. 4. Practice perspective taking. When making decisions, ask, "How will I feel about this in 10 years?" Or, "What would my 60-year-old self advise?" This simple question can illuminate the long-term consequences. 5. Celebrate progress. Keep a journal or record of achievements. Recognizing small wins strengthens the narrative that your efforts today benefit your future self. Conclusion: the power of conversation across time. Meeting your future self might seem like science fiction, but the idea reveals something profound about human nature. We are time travelers, not because we can step into wormholes, but because our minds can imagine, anticipate, and plan. When your future self feels like a stranger, you may act impulsively, neglect your health or finances, and regret missed opportunities. When you cultivate a sense of continuity, you nurture a partnership across time. AI projects like MIT's Future. You demonstrate that conversations with our future selves can reduce anxiety and strengthen this connection. Research by Hal Hershfield shows that feeling closer to your future self leads to healthier, wealthier, and happier outcomes. Time travel paradoxes may remain in the realm of theory, but we can, right now, write letters, visualize, and take small steps to become the person we want to meet. So the next time you reflect on your choices, imagine sitting across from your future self at a cafe. Think about the stories you'd want to share and the advice you might give or receive. That imagined conversation can guide you toward decisions that your older self will thank you for. What would you ask your future self? Let us know in the comments.